Hello developers, my name is Wright. Back here with some updates and new behaviours to my HGGLDial library. For those of you who haven't watched this video before, I've used the dial here as a menu system for the demo app. So I'm going to start out by rotating to the right and showing you what the main library actually does. Welcome to this little dial here. Just put your finger down and rotate. This is basically what the dial does. It's a rotation control, but has lots of sophisticated behaviours. I'm going to explain what these numbers do in a minute. I'll tap the dial, bring up the settings. And right, these are the settings, these little behavioural flags that show what the dial can actually do. You've got, you can work in single finger mode or dual finger mode. You can rotate cumulatively or non-cumulatively. I'll explain that in a second. You've got angle snapping functionality there. You can have minimum and maximum rotation constraints to prevent it from rotating to the left or the right a certain amount of times. Variable precision, which is quite a clever thing. I'll show you what that does in a minute, but first I'll have to show you what ordinary precision is. I'm going to start out by showing you rotate cumulatively, which is what you saw. But rotate it cumulatively, put my finger down, the dial doesn't move until I move my finger. Put it on non-cumulative mode, put my finger down, and it rotates directly to where my finger goes down, like that. So put back on cumulative, single finger, dual finger. It's in dual finger now. Put finger down, doesn't move anywhere. Put two fingers down, and it rotates. That's quite simple, straightforward stuff. Precision, this is a clever thing. This causes, this is actually the sensitivity of the gesture. So this number here shows how much the dial is going to rotate in relation to the gesture. So with one, what that does is, I put my finger down, as you can see, for one rotation I make with my finger, the dial rotates exactly once. Look at those numbers there. You notice the gesture rotation count, the object rotation count going up to 2 and 3. And you've got the object directions there. If I rotate to the left, it's -1. If I rotate to the right, it's +1. So the library tracks the direction of rotation and keeps count of the amount of rotations I've made. So I'm going to put this on a different precision now. Put it on, say, 1.8. So now the dial will rotate faster than the gesture, at 1.8 times the rate of the gesture, so as you can see there. And of course the count, the object count and the rotation count is going up at different rates there, because I've got on a precision other than 1, still tracking the direction. You've got a min-max constraints here, so that will prevent it from rotating to the left more than, say, 2.5, and forward more than 3.2, so go like that. That'll go to 3.2, it stops, go the other way, and obviously it clips at both bounds and stops there. It's all straightforward stuff. Variable precision, this is a clever little control. Oh, also, this little position up here, you can actually make that a negative number, so you can actually make the dial rotate in the opposite direction as well. So put that back to 1.0 for the time being, 1.0. I'm going to show you a variable dial now. A variable dial is a pretty clever behaviour. What that does is when I put that flag on, it causes the dial to rotate at different speed depending on how close I'm rotating to the centre of the dial. So the settings here, if I rotate close to the centre, it'll rotate 4.5 times for every circular gesture I make. As I slide to the outside, it'll slow down to 0.8. So we'll go like that, show you that. So put that finger down there, move my finger towards the inside, it starts rotating quicker, and then comes outside and it rotates slower. Pretty straightforward there. I've also got a thing called variable dial curve, which that just affects this behaviour. It causes the acceleration and deceleration of the rotation rate to kind of happen on the curve. To demonstrate how that works, I'll have to show you. I'll quickly turn it off and give this a really high inner number. Go to 150. Put 0 there with the ordinary variable dial. So I put my fingers to the outside. As you can see, it's quite hard to have exact control over the rotation of the gesture. But if I put variable dial curve on, that will cause the acceleration and deceleration to happen on the curve. So you can see I can move it very slowly there, and it actually accelerates when you move to the inside. So that's just a modification of that behaviour. Having that on or off will cause it to accelerate to the outside or decelerate to the outside, and obviously take those off and it accelerates and decelerates in a straight line. So I'll put that back on to, I don't know, 5.0 for the time being. Those can actually be negative numbers if you want, and you can even have one positive and one negative, and it'll go one direction there. I'll actually show you that actually, because it's quite a nifty little behaviour. It'd be nice, minus, say, 5.0. Actually what that does, that's actually quite strange. So that rotates one way, as I get close to the centre, it'll stop and actually start reversing. So you can do some weird things with the numbers if you want, but we'll leave that to, say, put it back to 0.8 for the time being. Fling, it's a pretty cool behaviour. I've actually modified how this fling works. One of the reasons why I'm republishing this video is because the fling behaviour now works with acting dial objects, and I'll explain what those are in a minute, because basically this library is programmed so one dial can act on another. So with the fling, what this basically does is, this is a fling tolerance here, so I'll have to move my finger 150 pixels in, say, 200 milliseconds left to be recognised as a fling. Once I fling it, it'll start spinning, and the spin rate is dictated by these numbers here. So that means it'll start at 10 rotations per second, slow down to 0, over the space of 5 seconds, or 5,000 milliseconds. So put that down, it will rotate that, that'll rotate at 10 fings a second, it will slow down over the period of 5 seconds, it will come to a stop. You fling both ways, you can catch it in the middle of fling, it's all straightforward there. So obviously if for some strange reason you want to go 10 to 0, you can do that, and that'll actually speed up, about 5 actually. That'll actually speed up when you fling, it'll start slow and speed up, that'll go up to 5 and then it will stop. If you put both numbers to 0, this is a pretty cool behaviour. When you set both these numbers to 0, it causes the fling to happen at the rate of the actual fling itself. So to demonstrate that, we'll put this on variable curve and put that to about 80. Okay, and we'll do, hang on, fling, notice that's rotating slowly. I'll fling slowly to the outside and it flings really, really slowly. If I fling it fast, then it spins faster. So that's kind of like what that setting does, which is quite handy. All these behaviours work together. I'll actually show you angle snapping yet. I'll show you angle snapping. Let's take the variable dial off, so it's on 1, put it on angle snapping here, and then you see you've got angle snapping there. If you notice it's rotating freely between snaps for a certain distance, that distance of free rotation is dictated by that number there. If I change that to half of that or more, if I say for example 0.125, which is more than half, then there'll be no free rotations between snaps, as you can see there, and put that back to 0.3125, which is a quarter of that. Play around those numbers and you'll be able to suss out how that works. So that's kind of all those behaviours there. What I'm going to do though, this dial also, it supports, go back to the main menu, it supports distorted dials, which is a dial here, so that's a distorted dial, as you can see. And as you can see, the angle snapping is working there because I left the angle snapping in the setting on in the main menu. Rotate the device there, the device is rotated, so it rotates. Again, all these behaviours work together. That was angle snapping because I left the angle snapping on over here, so I turn the angle snapping off over there and put the minimum maximum constraint on, go back to the distorted dial. As you can see, that'll put the bounds again because I've got the min max constraint on. So don't want to bore you with all of these combinations. I'm going to show you what's really cool about this library. What I've added recently is that I've actually made it so the fling behaviour works with one dial acting on another. So I'll show you one dial acting on another for the time being by going to the clock demo fragment of this app. So I'll dial down to the bottom to that part. Got a little clock there. I've updated this app to show this. So I've got a little keep time function there that will keep the time. Put my finger down, that will rotate the hour. The hour acts on the minute, and acts on the second. Click on minute, and then that'll rotate the minute. The minute acts on the second, and in turn acts on the hour. Put the second down, and the second acts on the minute. And if you look closely, it is actually acting on the hour as well. Go back to keep time, and there you go again. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back over to here, and I'm going to put the fling back on. Oh, it was already on. Beg your pardon. So what happens now is the fling actually works in the acting objects now. So you see I flung the hour there, and the hour's flung around. And if I click on the minute, I can fling the minute, and then the minute will act on the second, which acts on the hour. So this is basically the new behaviour that I've added, and I can actually fling the second there. So this is actually the new behaviour that I've actually added, and how one dial object acts on the other dial object, which it did before, but now it actually works with the fling behaviour, which is actually quite handy. So I'm going to close up this demonstration now. When I publish this video, obviously I'll put the location of the open source repository in the YouTube link. I've got another dial library that does exactly the same as this, but it's implemented in Canvas and extended views for any of you developers who are into that kind of stuff. So that's kind of easier to use because it's like a proper custom control, but the acting objects don't yet work as well as this one, and doesn't support doesn't support the distorted dials. Got a few other gesture libraries up there you'll find very handy. I've got a really powerful gesture library. On the open source repository now, I've got an open source donate button, a little PayPal donate button. So if any of you guys are feeling generous, you want to donate to the open source cause, it'll give me time, money to make more libraries and improve upon them. So that said, I will bid you adieu and have a good day.